Because it's times like these, with so much happier nights like these, we'll remember those stupid jokes. Sometimes I wake up and I hear you through the silence.
Let's talk about the next song then, which is called Headline, and this is so catchy. You wrote this with a band called The Academic.
Yeah, well,
who I absolutely love. Brilliant band.
Great
from
band.
Ireland. Great
band. I've never actually seen them live, but they're a band that I imagine a really good live band as well. Yeah, this was the last song that we got on this record, and I'm not gonna lie, it was like 85% finished when I heard it. Well, it was finished, there was just a few things across the lyric that were great, but they just didn't feel true to me. So we kind of remolded it and reshaped it so it felt kind of relevant to this record. But I was really thankful for that song because it's a sound palette that we haven't really used across this record. It's really, really bright. It almost gives me kind of Blossoms kind of vibes.
I was actually going to say, it feels like the kind of 80s thing that they do, isn't it? And it feels very northern indie as well.
Yeah. And like I said, that it was important for me with this record, because when I look back on the first record, it wasn't that it all sounds the same, but there wasn't enough points of difference across the record. Whereas these songs are vitally important for this record because it just gives a different flavour. You know, if you compare that to All This Time, to Face the Music, all quite different, but sit within the same identity, and that's where it makes me proud.
I'm not supposed to be feeling dirty cheap on Silver Street.
Saturdays is up next, and it manages to perfectly get across, the nostalgia of a great night out or, bumping into somebody you haven't seen for ages out and about. So how did this song come about? Were you just craving a sesh?
Standard.
Always.
Yeah, always. Do you know what? It was almost, if I put myself back in those shoes, it was almost imagining like I'd never left Doncaster and I kind of found myself in that kind of situation of on a night out and maybe you bump into someone who you used to be with. And there's I'm a big fan of this in lyric. There's those kind of quirky, slightly random details. And there's a line in there about you spotting someone that has the same trainers on that she did. And those kind of little details, I think, are important for those songs, especially things that are nostalgic, you want to make people feel. And that opening line, I'm not supposed to be feeling dirty cheap on Silver Street. Now, Silver Street sounds really glamorous, but it's actually the strip in Doncaster where you go out. It's the strip of nightclubs, yeah. So there's just, especially the fact that it feels nostalgic, those little kind of Easter eggs that have been massive parts of my life, also important for me to put into these lyrics.
And you sort of stay in that nostalgic place for the next song as well, don't you?
Let me just interject on that. Again, goes way above my musical comprehension. When he mentioned it at the time, I'm like, I don't really know what you're on about there. But Joe Cross did something brilliant with Saturdays, and there is little to no bottom end until the drums come in, which is about halfway through the song. Now, once you hear it and listen back, you kind of miss it. You're like, where is it? And then when the drums hit in, every single time, it just feels like a slap round the face. And that was one of those moments for me where just thankful to for being around these brilliant musicians, because that's not a trick I could pull out my sleeve, no chance. So to work with those kind of people, yeah, really, really thankful.
Yeah, I guess having those kind of people to challenge you and make sure they are pushing you on creatively.
Exactly, because I have a very, what's the word? I'm not, in terms of when I speak about music, there is no musical education there. It's all on feel.
Yeah.
So I rely on people like Joe to bring that incredible musicality to the production. And yeah, I think it's a song that I'd put it in my top 4. Let me say that. I'd put it in my top 4. It's just an ever-growing list.
Getting high on the amber wave, going deep for the ones who do the same.
And you sort of stay in that nostalgic place for the next song, Silver Tongues, which I saw it as just you talking about all the good times back home.
Yeah, well, actually, it was referencing that, But it was also referencing the night before that we'd had at that writing camp, because we all got pretty pissed that night and just had a really good night chatting to each other, getting to know each other. And that's kind of where the idea of the song came from,
Right.
based on the night that we'd had before, but then also reflecting on growing up and those kind of moments. But again, sonically, I think it's really clever, because the first time people hear it, you kind of lured into a false sense of security, where it comes in with the piano and it feels really emotional, it feels like you're going to go into a ballad, and then straight away the production kicks in. So that's something, again, in the live show, I think that'll be a moment.
Silver Tongues will be a moment as well. Also very much about Doncaster.
Yes.
Do you still love going back home? Do you still just get that buzz?
I love it, yeah, I do love it. My feeling of home has kind of changed over time. I mean, I've still got some mates who live there, but my family still live there. And it's more the peacefulness of it, you know, especially when I come from a place like London. You go to Doncaster, and especially where my grandparents live, you can't hear anything. It's kind of lovely like that. But also, like, you know, even if you only have to go into a pub in Doncaster and straight away I'm beaming, you can just hear something one of old locals has said that'd be like dead charming or whatever. I just love the people. I've got a lot to thank Doncaster for, definitely, in terms of who I am as a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Conversation is currency. Shapes become language.
I love the next song title, She Is Beauty, We Are World Class. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I need to listen to that one. Sounds absolutely great. And I love the electronic vibe. I feel like it injects energy just when you need it in the album. So were you quite meticulous when you were choosing this track list and choosing the order? Is that how you work?
Yeah, the order I did, I think I was in Brazil halfway in the tour at some stage. And that's important to me, that it feels that you can listen top to bottom and it feels like a body of work. That is really important to me. On this song, She Is Beauty, We Are World Class, it's a thought-provoking title. I still, you know, I'm not certain what it means to me. I've got an idea, but it's one of those phrases that I think is open to interpretation. Now, Dave Snedden, who I wrote this with Joe Cross and Theo as well, really mad story. He got the train down to the writing camp, and in the toilet, on the train, written on the mirror was "She is Beauty," and then he got a picture of it, and then below it, in a slightly different coloured pen, so we couldn't work out if it's from the same person, looks like someone had finished it off and put "We Are World Class."
No way.
And he just kind of came with his picture and was like, this is an interesting title. And that's where the song kind of came from. And I kind of like that someone else wrote it. We don't really necessarily know what it meant to them. We know what it means to us.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was an interesting moment. I think this is where I'd said, let's really try and go all in on the dancier sound of things, because I kind of allude to it on like All This Time, but like it's not quite as like trancey as this is. And almost has that kind of DMA's lift with it, with the instrumental that comes in on the post-chorus. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's my best mate's favourite tune. I do really like the song, but I think it's another one of those songs that's important for the record to give a different flavour.
Yeah.